Hey guys, so today I'm finally getting around to a project I've been wanting to do for a long time, and that is adding the third section onto our tomato beds. So the first year we were here, I built the two beds with the corresponding trellises. Earlier this year I built the third bed here at the end. Need to add on the trellis. Now this mess here is a tomato that came through the winter, and so I'm gonna try to revive it. So I'll be doing a video on that on Next Level Gardening in a couple of weeks, so definitely make sure you're subscribed over there. So today I'm gonna walk you through on this channel building the rest of this trellis. And it's so exciting to see, like in our Facebook group. If you're on Facebook already and are not a part of Next Level Gardening, the Facebook group, you're missing out. And I've seen hundreds of people around the world build my trellis. It's so fun to see all that. So today I'm going to be building the trellis, and then tomorrow on Next Level Gardening, I'm going to be showing you step by step how to use this trellis to grow way more tomatoes in a small space. So the first thing I need to do is dig a hole for the 4x4 post that will end this trellis. Okay, so we're not off to a great start. Apparently not thinking ahead, when I filled in under where this path is, I filled in with a bunch of fairly large rocks. And so digging through here is like digging through a rock wall. So instead of digging a foot deep hole here, we've got about 6 inches. I'm gonna do what I did at my last house. So you don't need to bury this in cement, which if you're on a slab, you can't do anyway. So I'm gonna put it, 6 inches deep, put a little bit of cement around it just to stabilize it a little bit, and then screw it into this cross piece of the raised bed. Now, it's important to know also, while I'm using 4x4 posts here for all of the vertical supports, at my last house I actually used 2x4s, and those were screwed directly into the raised beds. So you can save a little money that way and do 2x4s rather than 4x4s. So I'm gonna let that cement cure, maybe even overnight, and then go back tomorrow and finish it. I want to show you something really quick though. I'd mentioned we have the finches making nests around the house. Well, I know for certain this one has eggs in it.
Yeah, Tom.
So cool. All right, it is time to finish this trellis. So the first thing I'm going to do is run the horizontal 2x4s between this post and this post. Make sure they're level. Now remember yesterday I could not bury that as much as I wanted to, so I'm going to eventually have to cut some of the top off because it's higher than the others. So the first thing is put those 2x4s across and make sure they're level, and move forward from there. Well, the camera shut off as I was putting that up, but anyway, I've just put two 2x4s between the new post and the existing post. Just 2 screws in each one. The next thing I have to do is cut the wood for all of the cross pieces that you see the white hooks hanging from. Before I get into this too far, I probably should tell you why this works the way it does. You can grow anything vertically on here. I grow tomatoes and cucumbers, sometimes squash, and in the winter I grow peas up these. When you grow tomatoes and cucumbers for that matter, you really want to single stem grow them. Watch tomorrow's video on Next Level Gardening, you'll learn all about that. Then you train the tomatoes up these strings, and when they get to the top, which for me is usually by mid-June, early July. Now typically in cold winter climates, you'd cut off the top and let the fruit below that ripen. But if you get frost as late as September, October, or later like we do, when that tomato plant reaches the top, it turns back on itself, gets heavy, breaks, gets messy, basically ends up looking like this one. It climbed up and then fell back down. It's cutting short a season of tomato harvest that could be much, much longer. And so what you do with this type of trellis, once the tomatoes reach the top, you take this hook out, unwind it a couple of winds, and put it back in here. That drops the tomato plant down. You coil the vine down as it gets lowered every few weeks. But that now drops this down to where it has a couple more feet left to grow. When it reaches the top again, do the same thing. Take it out, unwind it a couple of times, and put it back in. And that extends your season until the cold weather comes to kill it. So it allows you to grow tomato plants within 1.5 feet of each other. So you can get a lot more production. You can try a lot more varieties in a smaller space. So you want these cross pieces to be the length of the width of the bed that they are over. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut those, and I'll try to film putting them up there. All right, so I've got my 2x3s cut into 3-foot sections because that's how wide my beds are. I used to use furring strips, which are like 1 inch wide and 3/4 inch thick, around that. And those will work, but they won't last as long as a 2x3. When I built the old section of this, I left a spacer sitting up there for this moment. So this is how wide apart these are going to be. So I made a spacer, it's about 1 foot long, so they'll be 1 foot apart. And then I'll just put this in there, screw this one in, and to screw it in, it's gonna go up on its end like this, and I'm using 3.5 inch deck screws, just 1 on each 2x4. Oh, before I put these up, I'm going to take the advice of a viewer who just a couple of days ago commented on the video that I put the other ones up in, and I'm going to put in these screw eyes. These are 1.5 inch number 10 zinc screw eyes, and I'm going to put them in before I put these up. The reason is it's going to be a lot easier than being upside down trying to do it. And they're going to go about 6 inches from either end, and I'll go ahead and use this 2x6 as a guide. all done, ready to plant tomatoes. But for that, you're gonna have to catch me tomorrow on Next Level Gardening. Now, if it's tomorrow already, I'll put a link right here to that video. If not, there'll be something else there for a day or so. But I'll also have a link down in the video description. I'll see you guys next time.